It's another warm night in Texas, and this evening at Minute Maid Park, the Boston Red Sox hoping to salvage a game in what has been already 6 losses during a 7-game trip. Tonight it's the finale. The Red Sox and the Houston Astros. And welcome into Red Sox baseball. In again one more time for Don Orsillo. I'm Josh Mauer, joined by Jerry Remy. There's no sugarcoating it, Jerry. It's been a bad trip, especially for an offense that had been clicking very well before the All-Star break.
Exactly right, Josh. You know, it's been terrible since the All-Star break. And you look at the 6 games the Red Sox have played since the break, and the numbers are not pretty at all for the Red Sox offense. The team average under 200 at 192. They've only scored 9 runs, 44 strikeouts, and 6 for 35 with runners in scoring position. Of course, the record 0-6 since the break. And pitchers haven't been doing that well either. They've given up 13 home runs in the 6 games they've played since the All-Star break. So all in all, it's been a breakdown for the Red Sox since the All-Star break, and they find themselves 11 and a half games actually now behind the Yankees as they won today. So, I mean, this is, going to change hopefully soon, and hopefully tonight with Wade Miley on the mound.
Yep, it's Miley. One of the few bright spots on the trip was Miley's start on Friday night in Anaheim. He'll take the ball again for John Farrell tonight. We'll continue with pregame coverage here from Houston. More coming up right here on Nestle. New Audi A3 today. Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. The Scion TC. DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of your Boston Red Sox. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Under the dome at Minute Maid Park, getting ready for the finale of the series. The Astros trying for the sweep. The Red Sox hope to get in the win column. And as the rotation turns, we've had some announced changes from John Farrell. For that and more, let's check in with Garen Austin.
Thanks, Josh. Wade Miley takes the mound tonight after one of his best starts of the season last Friday. Manager John Farrell said that start was encouraging, and they'll depend on Miley's consistency as they try to turn things around. Farrell also announced changes to the rotation for this weekend.
Wade's been throwing the ball very well over a majority of this season. Particularly, you get away from probably the first 3 starts of the year. He's been very consistent, probably as consistent as any time in his 3 years prior to coming to Boston. So for us to get out of the stretch we're in, we'll need continued performance from Wade as he's shown of late. Rick will start Friday, Stephen Wright will start Saturday, Eddie Rodriguez will go on Sunday.
So Eduardo Rodriguez has been pushed back a day. Meanwhile, Wade Miley gets the ball tonight, trying to build off that great effort in Anaheim. The lineups in the first pitch from Houston are coming up next. local New England Ford dealers. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. And by the Kia Sorrento. It's been a rough trip for the Red Sox. With 6 consecutive losses coming out of the All-Star break, they come into the trip finale here at Minute Maid Park tonight, hoping to salvage one. The lineups are being exchanged at home plate. Game 3 of the series, Houston has won the first 2. Well, tonight, Lance McCullers gets the ball for the Astros, and Wade Miley, coming off of a brilliant outing. That was on Friday night against the Angels. He will oppose McCullers for Boston. And Jerry, we're going to take a look back at what Wade Miley was able to do against a very, very good LA Angels lineup on Friday night.
Well, for a while, it looked like it was going to be a no-hitter by Miley. He was excellent at keeping the ball down in the strike zone. There you see a strikeout to Iannetta. Robertson right there. Mike Trout going down. Eric Ibar being called up by a strike. It wasn't until the 7th inning that he gave up the double to Cole Calhoun to break up the no-hit bid by Wade Miley. Unfortunately, things didn't end well for the Red Sox in that game, as later on, with Koji Uehara in the game and 2 outs in the inning, Mike Trout took Koji deep for the game-winning run. So it was kind of a strange night in Anaheim. Great pitching by Miley, but the bad end result right there, as that fastball was taken way out of Anaheim Stadium for the home run.
And that, the closest the Red Sox have come to getting into the win column thus far in the trip. And it's the only appearance over the first 6 games of this trip for Uehara. Well, fans, to help support next month's WEEI Nesson Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon, Roger Clemens is auctioning a great opportunity. It's a chance for you and 9 friends to hit 1 hour of live batting practice against Clemens at Fenway Park. That'll be on a date that you mutually agree upon coming up next season. The prize also includes lunch and a behind-the-scenes VIP tour. Now, to place a bid, dial this number, 877-738-1234. The Rocket will join us during the 3rd inning, and you can bid only tonight until the end of the 7th. All proceeds benefit the Jimmy Fund and the Roger Clemens Foundation. That is quite the opportunity. And we'll look forward to speaking with the Rocket coming up in the 3rd inning of this broadcast. The Red Sox lineup to face Lance McCullers. It's brought to you by your Eastern Hyundai dealers. No Dustin Pedroia tonight, so Mookie Betts back in after a night off. He's in the leadoff spot. Holt, the Red Hot Bogarts, David Ortiz, Hanley Ramirez. Pablo Sandoval was also off yesterday. Then De Aza, Napoli, and Ryan Hannigan round out the bottom 3rd of John Farrell's batting order here tonight. And the Astros starting pitcher, presented by your New England Nissan dealers. This is one of the youngest starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. It's Lance McCullers. Called up in May for his first big league action. He's only 21 years old, and the numbers through 11 starts are terrific. A .252 earned run average that is 2nd among all Major League rookies. He's pitching on 10 full days of rest.
The Astros defense is brought to you by DraftKings. They are 2nd in the league with 48 errors on the season. Gonzalez, Correa, Altuve, and Carter in the infield. Tucker, Marishnik, and Hose in the outfield. And Hank Conger doing the catching for McCullers.
Lance McCullers is ready to work. He's facing the Red Sox for the 2nd time this season. Mookie Betts. We'll take ball 1 as we get underway from Minute Maid Park.
That first game for McCullers, he took the loss against the Red Sox, going 5 innings in that game, going up 7 hits, but only 1 earned run.
That was a game that Boston won 5-4. McCullers has been a huge strikeout pitcher. Had 10 of them in his start against Tampa Bay before the All-Star break. Betts got the night off yesterday and is ahead immediately 3-0.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good fastball. We saw him at Fenway Park. He's got the breaking ball and not a split-fingered fastball, but a Vulcan change, they call it.
Mookie Betts just 1 hit in the road trip. And it's a 3-1 count. It was a 2-run check swing double here the other night. 1 out of 20 in the 5 games that he's played on the trip. Brock Holt and then Xander Bogaerts to follow. And McCullers Makes it a full count. McCullers a first-round pick in 2012 out of the Tampa, Florida area. Ripped fair past third, and Mookie Betts will have extra bases. Preston Tucker over to dig it out, and it's a leadoff double for Betts.
Now Betts gets way ahead in the count and has to have McCullers fight his way back to a 3-2 count. He gets that fastball right over the middle of the plate and hooks it right down that third base line for the leadoff double for Betts. Betts had been really struggling, one for his last 20, but the leadoff double here tonight.
That is the 24th double of the season, most on the team. Mookie Betts has been an extra base hit machine, and so immediately a man in scoring position for Brock Holt.
Right now, the Astros defense playing in a little bit. Carter at first base, Gonzalez at third base, expecting a possible bunt from Holt here early in the game. No sign of it on the first pitch.
Brock Holt 2 for 7 in the series. 1 ball and 1 strike. Holt has played first base, third base, and now second base in the 3 games here in Houston. One and 1 from McCullers. That's to second, and it will advance the runner. Altuve takes care of Holt. One away with Betts at third base. Tonight's umpires are brought to you by Buick. Experience the new Buick lineup during this year's Sign and Drive. See your local Buick dealer today. Behind the plate is the crew chief, Jerry Meals, Andy Fletcher, Jordan Baker, and Paul Emmel, first to third. For the men in black, boy, Jerry, wouldn't it be great to get a lead? It feels like the whole week the Red Sox have been playing from behind.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Right away, the Astros playing the infield in, not all the way in early in the ball game, but maybe far enough to hold Betts at third base if there is a ground ball to the infield.
And Xander Bogaerts is the hitter.
Actually, I'm not, as an infielder, I was not crazy about that position because it kind of put too much pressure. Either they want me to go home with the ball or go to first base. But in this situation, the middle infielders have to make up their mind if Betts breaks, whether they have a chance to get him or not.
Good speed at third from Betts. And that is foul, right field side from Bogaerts. As an infielder, too, you have to know who the runner is.
Exactly, and there's plenty of speed down at third base of Mookie Betts. I would be expecting him to run, of course, in this situation, but you see David Ortiz on deck.
Bogaerts 9 hits on the trip, and he's ahead 2-1. The one consistent hitter against the Angels and the Astros has been Xander Bogaerts, leading the major leagues since the calendar turned to June in batting average. McCullers 2-1. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Now falling behind a couple of hitters early in the ball game here against the Red Sox. Fell behind Mookie Betts, behind Bogaerts.
Mentioned earlier, McCullers has not pitched in 11 days, 10 full days of rest. Back into the screen, it's another full count. Manager A.J. Hinch gave McCullers, his young hurler at 21 years old, a little extra rest coming out of the All-Star break. It's a pitcher who began the year in Double-A. 3-2 on Xander Bogaerts. Went after a high pitch, and it remains a full count. Just over 50% in driving the runner in these situations. Again, you see the infield alignment halfway in behind McCullers. Foul tipped into the mid of the catcher, Condor, and that's the second out of the inning.
That's a huge strikeout, you know, and he's got that kind of ability. He's had 2 double-digit strikeout games this year, 11 against Baltimore, 10 last time out against Tampa Bay, and a big strikeout right here on a breaking ball. Not a real good breaking ball, but good enough for the strikeout to get the second out of the inning. Now the infield goes into the shift with Ortiz up.
David Ortiz hitting .231. As you see the 3 defenders on the right side of the infield. That one almost got away. 16 home runs. He's got the only Red Sox home run that's been hit during the road trip. Came Monday in Anaheim. One ball and 1 strike on David Ortiz. Jerry, the Red Sox have led in only 2 innings out of 54 during this trip.
You know, that's a very tough way to play the game of baseball, Josh.
True. 1 and 2.
And elevating on purpose right there against Ortiz. They've been trying to keep that fastball above the belt against David. And once again, right here, you can see high target, exactly where the pitch goes.
Ortiz takes one in the dirt, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Last time the Red Sox scored a first inning run was July the 4th.
A chance here tonight, though, with Betts at third base. 2 and 2 on Ortiz. Deep in the left. Tucker back to the track. He won't get it. Betts scores, and Ortiz rolls into second base. Boston does take a lead in the first inning as David Ortiz goes to the opposite field with an RBI double.
Yeah, nice piece of hitting by David, too. He got a breaking ball that time, and instead of trying to pull it into the shift, he goes to the opposite field. And this ball's going to slice away from Tucker, who's out there in left field, and hit the base of the bottom of that wall. Remember, that wall's only 315 from home plate. Very similar to Fenway Park in left field.
David Ortiz with his 46th run batted in. That ties him with this man, Hanley Ramirez, and also Xander Bogaerts for the team lead. Ramirez into right field, slicing and foul. Hanley makes an opposite field bid. Just a shade below 250 with runners in scoring position overall. Ramirez hitting .262. Leads the team with 19 home runs. So a pair of doubles produce a run in the first inning. That's past the mound, but at the second baseman, Altuve. So the Red Sox settle for 1, and Wade Miley takes to the mound. A 1-0 lead. Starting pitcher is presented by your local New England Audi dealers. Miley with his 20th start, 8-8, and a 4.49 ERA. Jose Altuve backing at the first pitch. A play for Bogarts. A 1-pitch out for Wade Miley. The Astros lineup is brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Good to keep Altuve off the base paths. He has been such a pest. Marwin Gonzalez, Carlos Correa. And then some power bats with Gaddis, Tucker, Carter. Hank Conger hits 7th. LJ Jose. And the speedy center fielder Jake Marisnick hitting in the 9th spot against Wade Miley. And now Marwin Gonzalez, tonight's third baseman. Miley gets ahead 0-1. Jerry, when we watched Miley pitch on Friday night, it was as good as he's been all season.
Yeah, it was, because he kept the ball down in the strike zone. And, you know, when he's down there, he's going to get a lot of ground ball outs. And that's exactly what happened to him, along with some strikeouts in that game against the Angels. But that's where he has to operate, down in the strike zone.
He retired the first 16 Angels he faced. And then he carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning. 2-1 on Gonzalez. .256 hitter with 6 homers. Fourth-year member of the Astros, Gonzalez hits it deep into left field. This is going to tie the game way out for Marwin Gonzalez. Solo shot off of Miley, and it's 1-1 here in the first.
Well, it's amazing. This team comes as advertised. It's the long ball. That's how they score. Gonzalez picks up his 7th home run of the season. Quite surprised, a little surprised to see him in the lineup tonight at third base, but he takes that fastball that's inside and just hooks it out of the ballpark. No doubt it.
Well, the Astros last night scored every one of their 4 runs courtesy of a home run. And now the Red Sox have allowed 14 home runs as a pitching staff during the road trip. 0-1 on Carlos Correa. You're not kidding, Jerry. That Astros team leading the American League in homers by a good margin.
It's amazing. I mean, when they hit home runs, you know, they call it Astros baseball. When they steal bases, they call that Astros baseball. Whatever it's been successful all season long for them.
Correa, one of the most impressive rookies in the game. Strikes out. Good pitch from Miley for out number 2 in the inning.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and they are 9th in the American League with 56 errors on the season. Pablo Sandoval at third base, Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, Brock Holt at second, Mike Napoli at first. It's Ramirez, Benson, Piazza in the outfield, and Ryan Hennigan doing the catching for Miley.
And now Evan Gaddis with 2 out looks at ball 1. He homered last night. That was against Joe Kelly, one of the league's leading RBI men, with 56 for Gaddis. In the center for a base hit. Mookie Betts plays it in. And Evan Gaddis has himself a 2-out single.
He is now 4 for 6 in his career against Wade Miley. He took a changeup that time and takes it back up the middle for the base hit. There's the off-speed pitch that stays up in the zone a little bit toward the end of the bat right there, but still good enough to pick up the base hit with 2 outs here in the first.
So the Astros put a go-ahead runner on base for Preston Tucker. Man who homered twice last night. Good move by Miley. And they've got Gaddis in a rundown. Napoli tags out the final out of the inning. A pickoff, but a home run from Gonzalez. We're tied at 1. Presented by Planet Fitness, Wade Miley's pickoff.
Well, you know, everybody in the world knows he's got a great pickoff move, and for Gaddis to get picked off is strange because he hasn't got a stolen base all year. I mean, the scouting reports are out there, and that was a beautiful move right there by Miley. And, you know, they're all borderline balks, but only one, I believe, has been called all season long, and that was with a man at third base.
Pablo Sandoval takes ball 1. It was that start right before the All-Star break against the Yankees. Sandoval pops a foul. And that ball finds the seats. After the balk called against the Yankees, John Farrell said it wasn't even the best pickoff move from Miley that was called.
No, but the last one was a very good one, I'll tell you that.
Sandoval, De Aza, and Napoli due up against Lance McCullers. Got a night off yesterday, did Pablo, after going hitless in his previous 2 games. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Red Sox had a pair of doubles in the first. Mookie Betts to lead off the game, and David Ortiz with 2 outs to drive him home. Beaten foul, and it's still 2-2. McCullers leads all major league rookies with the best opponent batting average. That's to first, and a play for Carter. Uses the help of Lance McCullers. The fans to help support next month's WEEI NESN Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon. Roger Clemens is auctioning a chance for you and 9 friends to hit an hour of live BP against him at Fenway Park. That'll be next year. The prize also includes lunch and a behind-the-scenes VIP tour. To place a bid, call 877-738-1234. The Rocket's going to join us, Jerry, coming up next inning. And you can bid until the 7th. All proceeds benefit the Jimmy Fund and the Roger Clemens Foundation.
That's a nice thing Roger's doing. You know, I saw him at Fenway about last homestand, and last year's winners were taking their swings at Clemens.
Alejandro De Aza with a 1-1 count. Now, what a cool experience that is for the winner and his or her friends. You get to take batting practice off of one of the great right-handed pitchers of all time.
And of course, the most important part is where the money goes.
Two and 1 to De Aza. The Jimmy Fund Telethon, which is annually one of the great events. That's going to share the proceeds with the Roger Clemens Foundation for this auction item. Some great causes. Into shallow right from De Aza. L.J. Hose. 2 out. It's easy to start earning DD Perks rewards. Download the Dunkin' mobile app and enroll any DD card in Perks right on that app. Message and data rates may apply. For full terms of use, visit DunkinDonuts.com. Red Sox Nation runs on Dunkin'. 2 outs from McCullers. And now Mike Napoli. He has started 5 of the 7 games on this trip. Again at first base tonight. Check this swing. It's 1-0. Four for 14 on the trip for Napoli, including a run batted in.
And Jerry Meals, the home plate umpire, took a pretty good blow to the face right there, the mask. That backed him up a couple of steps.
Yeah, it'd be tough to be an umpire. Two and 1. This will rattle your cage, huh, Jerry?
We see this happen all the time. Catches, umpires, and it just can't feel good. I mean, it can't. Right there, you can see him staggering back a couple of steps.
2 and 2 on Napoli. They've worked over the years, I know, on improving the safety of those masks that both the catchers and the umpires wear back there. Help absorb the blow a little bit better. Full count on Napoli. Lance McCullers' father, a big league reliever back in the 80s, pitched mostly for the Padres. Father's name was also Lance. Deep in the left for Napoli. Forget about it. Home run, Mike Napoli. The Red Sox take a 2-1 lead. No doubt about it, shot.
Now things have been getting a little bit better for Napoli recently. A 3-game hitting streak, and he gets a breaking ball and just hangs over the plate. Most of the time when they throw Napoli a breaking ball, it's well off the plate. This one stays right in the middle, and he's able to take it out of the ballpark for a home run. I mean, that's a sweet spot there for Napoli. Middle in.
11th of the season for Napoli, and 32nd run batted in. A 2-out home run, and now Hannigan lines a base hit. So Hannigan aboard with 2 out. For every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to the Cystic Fibrosis Multiple Sclerosis Fund. Alltown is New England's premier healthier convenience retailer.
That home run for Mike Napoli is first since June the 17th.
Over a month, and also just the second home run of the trip for the Red Sox. Some hard contact against Lance McCullers the first time through the batting order. And now back to the top. Here's Mookie Betts. Ahead in the count is Mookie, 2-0. Brent Strom, the pitching coach, pop out to come pay Lance McCullers a visit here.
Try to calm him down a little bit, giving up the 2-out home run, then the base hit to Hannigan. Falling back behind in the count, 2 balls and no strikes here, trying to get him back on track.
Well, the Astros have a lot riding on this season. Now just 2 games out of first place in the West, and they made a trade to help bolster their starting rotation today, trading for Scott Kazmir. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Entering tonight, McCullers had been brilliant here at home. He's won his last 3 starts at Minute Maid Park. I think with some young guys in the rotation, Jerry, the Astros felt that adding a veteran like Kazmir would help bolster their playoff chances.
Yeah, a guy that's been through it before, Josh, you know, and his experience later on in the season in meaningful games. Pickup that should be a good one, I think, for the Astros.
Ball 4 to Betts. He's aboard for the second time. And that puts 2 men on base for Brock Holt. Astros gave up a couple of minor leaguers to the A's in exchange for Scott Kazmir today. Brock Holt grounded to second base in the first inning. And a chance to extend a 2-out rally for the Red Sox. That's the 5th straight out of the strike zone from McCullers. Hannigan and Betts take their leads from second and first. Through the hole on the left side. Here comes Hannigan to the plate. Tucker's throw is waiting for him. That is how the second inning comes to an end. A base hit for Holt. Red Sox have a runner cut down at home.
And Brock Holt going to the opposite field, and you know the way the Red Sox have not been scoring, that Butterfield was going to wave around the runner here, and he ends up being out by quite a bit. The tag put on, but you know, if the Red Sox had been scoring a lot of runs, swinging the bat well, you may hold them at third base the way they've been swinging the bats. You've got to try to score any way you can, especially with 2 outs.
Now Preston Tucker takes ball 1 from Wade Miley, even with Jerry Xander Bogaerts in the on-deck circle there.
Yep. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong, but I'd say if I'm a third base coach, the way we've been going recently, I'm trying to get any kind of run I possibly. Not with 1 out, that's a different story. But with 2 outs, you've got to try it.
And give the Astros credit for executing the play. Tucker to Conger. Red Sox already with 5 hits tonight. 1 and 2 on Preston Tucker, the man who got that outfield assist. Fastball away to the Florida Gator. 2 and 2 on Tucker. He'll be followed by Chris Carter and Hank Conger. Miley allowed a solo home run to Marwin Gonzalez in the first. Stays alive with a check swing. Foxwoods' $25 million Summer of Dreams giveaway is in full swing. Dream big and dream often to win your share of cash and prizes this summer. Foxwoods, the official casino and resorts of the Boston Red Sox. Visit foxwoods.com to learn more. Off the outside edge, it's a full count. Miley's payoff. Hits softly to the second baseman Holt. Uses an underhand flip for the out on Preston Tucker. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. Tonight, the Red Sox hope to avoid a season-high 8-game losing streak. The Yankees have already won a game. Boston finds itself 11.5 off the pace in the American League East. But terrific signs of life from the Red Sox offense through a couple of innings. 2 runs, and they've already left 3 men on base.
Good change up there by Miley, working down and away from Carter. Carter, a guy that's got a lot of power, but also will strike out a lot, 115 times so far this season.
Two and one on Carter, who homered here in Game 1 of the series Tuesday night. Back into the screen, it's 2 and 2 from Miley on Carter. Tied for the American League lead in times punched out. Miley's 2-2. Add another one to the strikeout total, and that's the second tonight for Wade Miley.
Got 2 strikeouts on a night, both coming on the slider. That's how he got Correa back in the first inning, and now gets Carter on the breaking ball. That's down and in.
Strikeout brought to you by Amica Insurance. Great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance. 2 outs for the catcher, Hank Conger. And the former Angel takes it up and away from Miley.
Second start of the series for Conger, started in Game 1.
2-0. You see the percentage of pitches used. Miley relies on that fastball. 2-1, and you've said several times already it is a pitch he has to keep down.
You know, I mean, most pitchers have to keep the fastball down, unless you're a guy like Roger Clemens who can pitch up in the zone, or Pedro Martinez, but For the majority of normal people, normal pitchers, they've got to keep that ball down in the zone, especially against a team like this.
Chance at a 1-2-3 inning in the second.
Come on now, we've got to have that. That's a changeup, and that's a good one. Right at the bottom of the strike zone. Where's the strike 3 call? I'm begging.
Payoff pitch, and Conger takes ball 4. So after a very close ball 3, the 4th out of the strike zone was in the dirt. First walk from Wade Miley, and L.J. Hose comes to the plate. The numbers on Hose are in only 7 major league games this year. Spent most of the season at AAA Fresno. 70 games there for the Astros. And there's the catcher Conger on first base. No balls and 1 strike. One and one. Conger at first base has one of the shorter leads that you'll see. He's only about 2 steps off the bag. I'm sure he saw Evan Gattis get picked off back in the first.
That's about where I'd be too.
The first step was going back to the bag. 1 ball and 2 strikes. For every Red Sox game that goes into extra innings, or if the Sox get a save, CVS Pharmacy will make a donation to Children's Hospital towards a $25,000 commitment once again this season. CVS Pharmacy is the official pharmacy of the Boston Red Sox. One and 2 on Hose. Foul ball.
Looks like Hannigan was chasing a bee or a fly or something. That ball rolled into foul territory.
Stumbling like he was trying to swat a gnat. You're right. 2 and 2. John Farrell said to the media before the game today that he thinks Miley really has been his most consistent pitcher of late. He and Hannigan will get together here. Miley now the first Red Sox pitcher to get to 20 games started this year. A home run from Napoli in the top of this inning has given the Red Sox a 2-1 lead. Change up away, and it's a full count. So Conger will be off with the pitch. Three-2. Another one for ball 4. That's all the way to the backstop. Conger thought about heading to third, but puts on the brakes.
Well, after that non-strike 3 call to Conger, it's been back-to-back walks for Miley. This one bouncing all the way to the backstop, and thinking about third base was Conger, but Hannigan gets back to track it down and keep him at second base.
Miley has thrown 25 pitches here in the second inning already. And now he has to deal with Jake Marisnick. Two on base after those back-to-back free passes. Marisnik, 231 hitter, had a triple on Tuesday night. It's his only hit of the series. 1 out of 7. Good breaking ball. It's 0-1. One ball and 1 strike. Behind Wade Miley, Rick Porcello gets the ball tomorrow night as the Red Sox come back home to face the Tigers. John Farrell announced today that Stephen Wright will be recalled to start Saturday. Eduardo Rodriguez pushed back a day to Sunday. 2-1. Red Sox giving Rodriguez an extra day to work on a few things, also to mix up hard throwers, put the knuckleballer right in between Porcello and Rodriguez.
The other thing too is that, they're conscious of how many pitches that Rodriguez makes, I think, this year, and I think any chance they get from here on out to push him back a little bit, I think they'll probably do that because they don't want him to overload his workload this season. And we know what kind of things he's going to be working on, obviously, after his last start.
Marisnik swings through strike 3, and Miley strands a pair to cement a 2-1 lead. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Red Sox have a lead, 2-1 going into the 3rd inning tonight at Minute Maid Park. Finale of the road trip. And that's McCullers back to work against Bogarts, Ortiz, and Ramirez. Xander struck out his first time up. McCullers has already allowed 5 hits and 1 run in each of the first 2 innings. It's off the end of the bat, and it's 0-2. Well, joining us here in the booth, we got a very special guest. Here's Roger Clemens. He's here in support of next month's WEEI Nesson Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon. You're auctioning a terrific item tonight, and Rocket, I'm going to let you Talk about what you're auctioning off for the fans.
Well, oh man,
Correa with a fantastic play.
I like it when shortstops play like with that behind you right there. That's pretty nice.
I tell you, this kid's really something. And Roger, you've probably seen him more than we have, but in a few games that we've watched him play, he has been absolutely outstanding. I mean, that ball's by him, and he makes the play at first base. Outstanding arm. You like those plays behind
If he delivers the ball to first like that, Jerry, he's going to be on the mound pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty good form right there. He did catch that behind him a little bit.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Got some of the kids here in our season seats down there. They're watching the Sox. Got to say hello to Big Poppy. He almost threw one out of here. I told him that's a little bit shorter over there than that wall's a little bit shorter than Green Monster. It's a little more lifty. He's going to be fine.
Exactly.
He goes that way pretty good, but good thing the roof's closed. As you guys know, it's 72 in here and about 95 still outside, but I like that weather. And, yeah, the Jimmy Fund, you guys say it's me, but I got to tell you, I did it a couple weeks back. It was a great deal of fun for me because, you know, I haven't been on center stage at Fenway in a long time, and I got to hang out and throw BP to this group of men and young boys, and they had a blast, but, you know, I had a blast. I was in there throwing them nice big pies in there to hit, and it was fun. I was teasing everybody. I was throwing about maybe a Timmy Wakefield fastball anyway.
I was watching. I was up in the booth watching. I said, that's not the Rocket Man. I said, that's batting practice right there. And that's great. That's
I was throwing it. I think those guys had a great time. If anybody knows them, get in touch with them. And like I said, I've got a couple buddies here at home that, you know, if I told them they make a nice donation to Jimmy Fund and be able to hit for an hour at Fenway Park, it would go crazy.
McCullers gets David Ortiz. So if you put in a bid now and you have until the 7th inning, a chance for you and your 9 friends to hit batting practice for an hour off of Mr. Clemens here sometime next season at Fenway Park. That's a lot of BP throws, by the way, for now.
Yeah, it's and actually I'm going to be back in Boston in a couple weeks for a friend of ours is having his birthday. He's never been to Boston, so we're going to treat him. So it could happen as fast as that if somebody gets it. I got to tell you, it's with our foundation that we have here at home in Houston. I've had it since 1991, but we've been a little bit creative, and it's been such a big hit. I've had not only businessmen come to the house and hit in our cage at the house, then take our suite and watch a Astros game. We've also had gentlemen bring their son's 12-year-old Little League team to hit, so they can do that at Fenway too. But again, I tip my hat to the Jimmy Fund for being creative with this. It's fun for me to come back to a place where I got my start. And the Red Sox. I mean, you're talking about the historic Fenway Park and having an opportunity to hit. One of the guys hit the bottom of the Green Monster. He went crazy the other day. A couple of the players came out on the field. Petey was, I think, redoing his hamstring, working on his hamstring. So those guys got to see him kind of up close and personal. But again, the ground crew were shagging. You can't beat it when you have an opportunity to take batting practice at Fenway Park.
Well, we certainly appreciate the work that you continue to do for the Jimmy Fund. I mean, that's irreplaceable, and certainly your foundation taking advantage of this. And yeah, it's just a special thing that you've always been involved in Boston. I know that going back a long, long time, and I know how special it is to you.
You bet, Jerry. I loved it. If you're a Red Sox player, you find out real quick where everybody's heart is, and that. If you haven't been part of a charity, you jump right on board with the Jimmy Fund.
Anthony Ramirez takes ball 4.
Talk about this weekend coming up, Roger, and you got a friend of yours going into the Hall of Fame, and it's a pretty good class going into the Hall of Fame this season.
Very good. Our hometown hero, Craig Biggio, played 3 positions for us here, Jerry, and again, another blessing for me to come out of retirement for the 3rd time and come home and play and help somebody like Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio, who are legends here, put all the time in here they did with the Astros and we got to the World Series. So that's great. I was just talking to the guys on the radio, Joe Castig, and we talked about the Hall of Fame induction at Fenway, and I was having a great day till I got up in the chair, got a little emotional thinking about my mother and grandmother, but Pedro made some comments about how we would talk and how it may have helped him in some way out there on the mound. So that was pretty nice to hear him say that. I think he put in 15 years. I think Randy's got to have probably close to 20. I don't know the numbers, but great class. I was with Smoltz last week at the American Century out in Tahoe. He's a tremendous golfer, and so all well-deserved. Who am I leaving out? I went through 3 of them. Oh, I did them all. Randy, Bidge, and so well-deserved. You know, it's going to be, you know, it's like I said, Pedro was, you know, I knew when I was facing him and when he was a mound opponent that I was going to have to be, you know, on top of my game, that I couldn't go out there and have a hiccup against him because he was going to be on top of his game.
Now, what about you, Roger? What about that day when that call comes and your name is not there?
Yeah, you know, everybody's asked, and you know, and I have zero control over that. All I know, and I tell people, and the ones who know me, I played it the right way. I did it the right way. I can't control that. If a guy wants to speculations or non-facts, I have no control over that. So I don't lose any sleep over that. It's not going to change me of, you know, who I am as a person or how that I know that I approach this game that I love to play. So we had to go through an ordeal, and we did, and we pinned some guys' ears back. You know, some people don't care about that, but there are guys that are voting for you, and I have to tell them I appreciate it. But it's not something that, you know, I went to you know, play, you know. I played the game to make the Hall of Fame. It was the furthest thing from my mind. I played the game because I love to play it. I knew early in my career, once I seized that moment, that I could make a little money and take care of my family. And then it started to get to, you know, we get the World Series and playoffs in Boston and the history that came along with it. So that's, you know, that's really it. Congratulations to the guys that go, but it really doesn't make a difference in my life. Not that it wouldn't matter. I've got stuff there from friends who are actually, each year that comes, I get texts from friends that are up there running around and at Cooperstown and looking at our 20K stuff's up there, and some cool pieces of memorabilia. So I'll get texts or pictures from that, and it's really cool. The guys in Cooperstown, when I took the little guys, my young ones there to play at the Dreams Park, I would take the whole kids down there and show them around, and the people that run the facility at Cooperstown have always been fantastic to me.
I got a chance to do your second 20 strikeout game in Detroit that night, and Hasselman doing the catching, and it was kind of weird that night because it kind of snuck up on everybody. It was a little bit different than the first one.
It did, and who was the umpire that day? I'm sure he had to ice down as much as I did. I think he did. Anyway, he was getting that hand out of that ball pocket for me. That was pretty good.
So after back-to-back walks by McCullers, here's De Aza. The Red Sox have a 2-out threat here in the third.
Where do you guys go after tonight?
We stay here in Houston. We fly tomorrow morning to play tomorrow night against Detroit at Fenway.
Really?
Yeah, we love Houston so much, Roger. We're going to stay an extra night and fly tomorrow morning. I hear you got a little business going. I don't know if this is, if I hear correctly, but you get tapes from pitchers around baseball, and you critique their mechanics. Is that true?
Well, if it's a minor league guy, they usually send me some stuff. If a guy wants me to take a look at him, obviously I work for Houston. Mainly I get, your title as assistant to the general manager, but mainly I watch guys. I go to spring training, visit with them. If they ask a pointed question or two, we'll deal with that. But I don't turn away. You would know probably 10 or 15 of the big league guys that I talked to. I just got off the phone with one guy that's struggling last night, and we just had a pretty good visit. And again, you played this game, so you know mentally where you need to be sometimes and how you can get off a little bit and maybe doubt yourself.
That's a play for the shortstop, Correa. And De Aza is out. Roger, thanks so much for coming by.
Thanks, guys.
And again, you have until the 7th inning to bid on the batting practice next year.
That's great. I'm looking forward to it, so we'll go out there and have some fun.
Thanks for coming by.
You got it.
Thanks, Roger.
Thanks, Jerry.
2-1 Red Sox. Wade Miley with a 2-1 lead as we start the bottom of the third inning. And Altuve drops a bunt. It's a good one, and Miley cannot get the out.
That's a perfect bunt by Altuve because you got Miley falling off the third base side, the left-hander. So what you want to do is try to bunt that ball down the first base line. Now Miley almost makes a great play on this. He recovers fairly quickly and it made it close at first base. But Altuve, very smart there, bunting down the first base line and picking up the base hit. There's Miley coming over to make the play. Makes a pretty good throw to Napoli, but not quite in time to get Altuve. Now let's see what kind of lead Altuve gets at first base with the great move from Miley.
Altuve leads the American League with 27 stolen bases. Miley has already picked off a base runner tonight. Tying run aboard for Gonzalez. Marwin Gonzalez delivered Houston its run back in the first inning with a solo home run. Our thanks again to Roger Clemens for joining us. Good conversation with the Rocket. Still has quite the affinity for Boston, I know, Jerry.
Yeah, he does, you know, and when I asked the question about how he feels when the phone rings and obviously his number does not come up on the phone on Hall of Fame Day, I find it hard to believe that you don't feel that. I mean, let's face it, you know, the guy's accomplished everything there is to accomplish in the game, and because of everything that he had gone through, you don't get that call to go, and you know, I don't care when players say, you know, I really don't think about it. I don't quite buy that. I think there's at least one day a year you got to think about it, and that's the day that all these guys are going into the Hall of Fame, because you know that's the ultimate. It's the ultimate prize. And, I don't know. I would just find that to be a very difficult day.
And then, of course, the question becomes: someday will that call come forward?
Don't know. You know, just don't know.
And for a lot of guys, it's very much up in the air from that era. 2-1 to Gonzalez. It's 3 balls and 1 strike.
Give him credit. You know, he has been consistent throughout the years. You know, people at times would not know, you know, what Roger did off the field for charity. And he did an awful lot of work as a player in Boston and continues to do that, and for that he needs to be commended. Still taking part in the Jimmy Fontelathon. You know, has his own foundation out here, which has been very successful. So you know, my cap is off to his generosity.
There is no question of the credentials of the 4 men who will be inducted on Sunday in Cooperstown. Between those 3 pitchers of Martinez, Smoltz, and Johnson, that's a lot of wins and Cy Young awards.
Well, you know, we heard Clemens say, you know, how he's talking about facing certain pitchers and how they know on that particular day that they have just about got to be perfect because they know the other guy's going to be close to perfect. They've got to be a little better. So when pitchers say, I'm not pitching against the other pitcher, that's not true. You are. You know, if you got 2 great pitchers on the mound, you are pitching against the other pitcher. You've got to be a little bit better than him that day.
3-2 on Gonzalez. Probably a good chance here that Altuve will be in motion on the pitch. Nobody out in the third. Holding, and the ball is whipped to left. Ramirez tracks it down in the gap.
Hanley gets a pretty good jump on this line drive, and that ball was hit very hard. Ramirez able to track it down, and Altuve remains at first base, still trying to figure out Miley. So Gonzalez for the second time today, the home run, and now the line drive for an out.
Now here's Carlos Correa. Miley struck him out his first time up. We've seen some good defense tonight, and nothing better than what Correa did with his glove in the top of the inning to rob Xander Bogaerts. No balls and 1 strike. Now tonight's key matchup is brought to you by Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. You can see how well the 20-year-old Correa has hit the Red Sox this season. 9 for 22. There goes Altuve. And with the pitch in the dirt, Hannigan with no chance.
Good read by Altuve, and he's probably happy that he got himself to second base instead of stealing it on a ball that's in the dirt. He reads the ball's going to be in the dirt, and sees it bouncing away from Hannigan, and off he goes to second base. Immediate read at first base by Altuve to get in the scoring position.
He was off from the moment he saw the ball hit dirt. A wild pitch on Miley. So the tying run into scoring position. And it's 2-1 on Correa. For Correa, this is only his 38th big league game. He's already homered 8 times. He's hit 12 doubles. Two and 2. DraftKings.com is paying out over $300 million this baseball season. DraftKings has given out $34 million to Boston residents alone since the site launch. Get your free entry into a one-day fantasy baseball contest today using promo code NESSN. 2-2 to Correa. Inside with the fastball, a full count. A look at what Correa has done and where he ranks among American League rookies. Again, remember that is all coming in just barely over 1 month. Miley walks him. Two on and 1 out for the cleanup batter, Evan Gattis. It's 3 bases on balls issued by Wade Miley thus far tonight. Gattis singled in the first. He was later picked off. A little bit low. 1 ball, no strikes. You can see Miley starting to labor a little bit here in this 3rd inning. That's a strike. Right about the kneecaps. 1-1.
Yeah, this is a more difficult outing for him than last time out when he had great command of all of his pitches throughout that game.
Infield plays for a double play. That's out of play. 1-2. Continuing the Pedro Hall of Fame festivities, the Red Sox will be celebrating Dominican Night at Fenway Park this coming Wednesday. Visit RedSox.com for tickets to Dominican Night and the rest of the Pedro festivities. Two balls and 2 strikes for Pedro. What a week coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously he is. And we are all, as Red Sox fans and Pedro fans, looking forward to the upcoming ceremonies going to be great at Cooperstown. It's going to be great at Fenway.
Gaddis towards second base. Holt. Bogarts has no relay. Fielder's choice wasn't hit hard enough to turn 2.
Now just kind of tapped out towards second base, and Brock Holt, and really all you can do here is try to get the one. You know, you try to. He had to back up a little bit on that ball, and then once Bogart saw that, he knew he had no opportunity to close the deal on a double play.
So that leaves runners on the corners with 2 out. There's Altuve tying runs at third base. And the batter is Preston Tucker. Miley induced a soft grounder to second last inning off the bat of Tucker. One ball and no strikes. I think the speech that Pedro gives in Cooperstown upon enshrinement, that's probably going to be appointment viewing.
Well, you know, I've always said, you know, that I think it's going to probably be the best speech. I mean, because it all comes from his heart. It always does. Everything that he talks about.
Stopped by Hannigan.
I mean, he's such a proud guy. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Like I said, you know, all due respect to Roger Clemens and many others, he's the best pitcher I've ever seen. And I was fortunate enough to do his games while he was a member of the Red Sox. It was electric every single time that he pitched. The whole ballpark was electric. He was electric. And it was just special. He's the best I've seen. He was by far the most dominant guy that I have seen pitch baseball since I've been involved in professional baseball.
And the point that you've made, too, is also you have to take into account the era that he pitched in.
Exactly.
Well, Sunday, along these lines, Nesson is going to present Peerless Pedro from noon to 7:30. We're going to air Pedro's top Nesson games featuring only the half innings that he pitched in. Tune in Sunday from noon to 7:30, leading up to the Sox nationally televised game against the Tigers at 8. Picking out the best performances from Pedro. 3-1 on Preston Tucker. And all weekend, Nesson will have the coverage from Cooperstown as Pedro gets the call. And of course, the number retirement at Fenway. That'll be Tuesday, and this is going to get Miley out of a jam. Mookie Betts retires Preston Tucker. It remains 2-1 Boston. Eastern Bank is here to make your banking and your day easier. See how at easternbank.com. Here, your first Eastern Bank. Lots of base runners through 3 innings. Red Sox have left 5 on base. The Astros 4. And here's the man who has delivered the go-ahead run, Mike Napoli. 0-1 to count. Napoli crushed his 11th home run of the season back in the 2nd. One and one, and this left little doubt, Jerry.
Napoli gets a breaking ball. It hangs inside, and that's a good pitch for him to hit. Even if you're struggling, those kind of pitches generally go a long way. The power hitters.
2-1 from McCullers. Brian Hannigan and Mookie Betts due up here in the inning. That's ripped down the left field line. Napoli puts it into the corner yet again. He's trying for second base. That throw is offline. Second extra base hit of the night for Mike Napoli. It's a leadoff double.
Now Napoli already with the home run on a breaking ball. Lines this one right down that left field line. I thought it was going to be very close at second base. That's a fastball again, middle of the plate to Napoli. So he's hit a hanging breaking ball that was inside, a fastball out over the middle. And Napoli 2 for 2 on the evening. Or the night, or whatever it is.
I think evening works. We still got a little daylight here in Houston. And now Ryan Hannigan will try to move Napoli along. Red Sox already have 9 base runners. Hannigan singled his first time up. 6 hits, 3 walks against McCullers. I think you'd have to say this is the best offensive effort we've seen during the road trip.
Well, so far, certainly early in the game.
That's into right center field. A long run, hose. Back to second goes Napoli.
Well, by design, Hannigan trying to go to the opposite field that time to advance Napoli to third, but the ball not hit deep enough this time, and a nice play by L.J. Hose in right field. He's playing him fairly shallow. As you can see, is able to make the catch, and he tried to double him up, but Napoli gets back standing up. But Hannigan trying to do the right thing that time by going to the opposite field. You see the inside-out swing, but not quite deep enough to get the Napoli to third base.
So there's the first out in the 4th, and Mookie Betts comes to the plate. With Napoli still standing at second. On base twice tonight for Mookie. Nothing in 2. Nesson is proud to support the National Suit Drive in July. When you make a donation of gently used professional clothing at any Men's Warehouse location, you help unemployed men and women look their best as they re-enter the workforce. Learn more at nationalsuitdrive.com. Jerry has been going through his suits selection, all the garments. And
well, absolutely. I've got some donations to make.
All doing our part.
I donated a shirt last night to the trash when I got back to the room. It was ripped.
Betts up the middle, but Correa ranges near the bag. He shows off a fantastic arm for out number 2.
Yeah, he knows he has to be quick because he knows Mookie Betts can run, and he attacked this ground ball up the middle and got a very quick release on it. A little bit of a slip, but still gets enough on that throw to get Betts at first base. Very good play by Correa.
Napoli does take third with 2 out. And now Brock Holt. Singled back in the 2nd. That's strike 1. When Brock's base hit. The Astros threw out a man at home plate trying to score. Tapped foul, and McCullers is ahead a couple of strikes. Green Monster tickets for all August and September games are on sale now. Don't miss out on your chance to sit in the best seats in sports. Visit redsox.com/Green Monster to buy your Green Monster tickets today. 2 strikes on Holt. And on the ground to Altuve. McCullers pitches around a leadoff double. It remains 2-1 Boston. Bank helps make good things happen. Watch how good things are happening to local people at easternbank.com/goodthingshappen. Red Sox lead 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th. And Miley faces Chris Carter. The ball's in 1 strike. Carter a strikeout victim his first time. Once again tonight in for Don Orsillo. This is Josh Mauer. Jerry Remy alongside from Minute Maid Park. And 1-1 from Miley. Miley's allowed 3 hits. He's also walked 3 batters. 1-2. Towards third base, and Sandoval moving left. 1 out in the inning. Now, Jerry, it's been a rough trip for the Red Sox, but tonight, as they try to at least salvage 1 in these 7 games on the road, thus far they have a lead, and Miley seems to be settling in a little bit.
Well, I hope they get a win for you anyway. You know, I mean, you've done this 6 games now, and you haven't got a win at the major league level. Well, you realize that, don't you? You know what your record is.
It's an 0-for.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm really pulling for a Red Sox win tonight so you can, you know, at least say that you've got a win in the big leagues.
I don't want to be barred from clubhouses all over the nation. 1 ball and 1 strike on Hank Conger. Conger walked his first time up. And it's 2-1. There's L.J. Hose in the on-deck circle. 2-2. The Red Sox got a little good news today. Christian Vazquez began a throwing program. He's coming back from his Tommy John surgery right after spring training. As you see Hannigan catching behind the plate. I think it's easy to forget that Vazquez was supposed to be the #1 catcher for this team all season. Long road back from the Tommy John. Towards first and backhanded by Napoli. 2 down in the 4th. Arbella Insurance Foundation is proud presenting sponsor of the WEEI Nesson Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon this season, dedicated to striking out cancer in kids. Arbella donates $50 for every strikeout thrown by a Sox pitcher, up to $100,000. Arbella Insurance Foundation, here for the Jimmy Fund, here for good.
Had a chance to talk today with Clay Buchholz, who went down and get that shot in his elbow. And it's going to be a couple of weeks before he's able to test it out to see how it feels. And he's pretty optimistic that that the shot will work. We certainly hope it does. But he said it was quite painful, and I can imagine, because he described how they inject them and kind of move that needle around, and you watch through the ultrasound, and it doesn't sound like a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Ugh. So hopefully that shot works and Clay will be okay.
Hose into left for Ramirez, and Miley retires the side in order in the 4th. Photo. Use hashtag NessonDataStrongFan and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Tweet your photos now. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Red Sox have a 2-1 lead in Houston. And batting in the 5th, Bogarts, Ortiz, and Ramirez. It's the middle of the order against Lance McCullers. 1-0 on Zender. He was robbed in a fantastic defensive play by Carlos Correa back in the 3rd inning. That's into right center field. L.J. Hose with a play. Well, now, Jerry, you were talking about the PRP, the platelet-rich plasma injection that Clay Buchholz got in his elbow yesterday, and Clay talked to the media this afternoon about it.
That's the reason we went with the PRP, because the time that I'm going to be down it's not going to extend that time at all. So, being that I don't have any tears or it wasn't a surgical issue. And he said that I would probably be in the upper 80% for this PRP stuff to even help or form a stronger muscle rather than just taking rest.
So Buchholz going to be able to throw, he thinks, in a few weeks. I know he told you, Jerry, but he's not the first Red Sox pitcher even to experiment with those PRP injections.
Brandon Workman had it, didn't he?
Sure did. Trying to strengthen that area of the elbow. It's always so vulnerable. Ortiz looks at ball one. David doubled in a run in the first and struck out in the third. The 1-2. Way up on the left side of the infield. Gonzalez going to make the catch. 2 out in the inning. Monday is Pedro Fathead giveaway night at Fenway Park. To celebrate baseball's newest National Baseball Hall of Famer and his soon-to-be retired number, all fans in attendance will receive a limited edition number 45 Fathead decal. Visit RedSox.com to buy your tickets today. Pedro's number will be retired on Tuesday night at Fenway. And Ramirez behind 0-1. He walked in the third. Grounded out in the first. McCullers trying for his first perfect inning of the night. One and one. The Red Sox have a lead, but you do feel, I think, a little bit like they've let McCullers somewhat off the hook from the first 4 innings.
He's starting to settle in a little bit now, as is Miley in this ball game. Miley having a 1-2-3 fourth. Both guys off to a shaky start.
To shortstop, Correa tried to backhand, and Hanley Ramirez is safe at first base.
That is the 4th error Correa has made since being called up. He tries to go to the backhand and it rolls right up his arm. Right up the heel of the glove and up his arm, and Ramirez will be safe at first base. Not bad fielding position at all. Looks like he got a little bit of a bad hop toward the end of that, and that's the reason it bounced up off the heel of his glove.
First error of the night. It's the first error made by either the Angels or the Astros against the Red Sox the whole road trip. And Sandoval shoots one to left. Red Sox unable to take advantage. Halfway through at Minute Maid, 2-1. All season long, Geico will highlight the 1975 Red Sox in honor of their 40th anniversary. In game number 96 of that 75 season, the Red Sox beat the Twins 6-2, and Jim Rice went 2 for 4 with a 2-run home run. Game number 96 of 2015. Red Sox hoping to avoid a winless road trip, lead by a run. And Marisnick leads off. He's behind 0-2.
You were telling me a story prior to the game tonight how this was not the first time that you met Roger Clemens.
This is not. And he was so gracious. This was in 2007. Strike 3 on Marisnick. And that's the 4th strikeout for Wade Miley. I was working in Single A in the South Atlantic League, and Roger's son Kobe was playing in that league at the time. He was at a game. He was still pitching for the Yankees at the time. And Roger, I went up to him as a sheepish young broadcaster, and I said, "Mr. Clemens, would you mind if I recorded an interview for my radio broadcast?" And he looked at me, he said, "Yeah, let's go." And he took me into an air-conditioned suite. We recorded the interview, and we sat and talked for another 10 minutes afterwards. He was so gracious with his time, and that's always stuck with me.
That's nice.
Which is something that he had no obligation, nor did he have to do at all for a young guy just trying to grab a few minutes of airtime with one of the best pitchers of the generation.
That had to make you feel good.
He impressed me, that's for sure. Altuve to left. Ramirez, it's over his head. And into second base, standing up, Jose Altuve with a 1-out double.
Well, Altuve impresses me. I mean, this guy continues to do things that are just terrific. I mean, a line shot on a fastball down and in. He finds it, gets it past that wall. Ramirez has to track it down, and by the time he's there, it's an easy 2-base hit for Altuve with 1 out here in the 5th. Now you got to keep your eye on him. Brock Holt will have the responsibility of keeping him close at second base.
That's the tying run here in the 5th inning. And Marwin Gonzalez, who's hit the ball hard twice tonight, coming up.
That's the home run back in the 1st inning for Gonzalez, his 7th of the year.
Then he batted in the 3rd and smoked one to left that Hanley Ramirez caught. So Gonzalez has seen the ball well against Wade Miley tonight.
Miley paying attention, obviously, to Altuve. Altuve, the time to go when you're at second base is with 1 out to try to get there before 2 are outs. And, you know, you can score, obviously, if the infield comes in on contact play or a fly ball to the outfield.
One ball and no strikes. One and one, you could see Holt, the second baseman, creeping in behind Altuve at second base before the pitch, trying to keep him as close as possible to the bag.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance because, you know, you got to keep the runner close, but you also can't give up your position and find yourself out of position on a ground ball. Holt moving back there. They're playing him to pull anyway, so that makes it a little bit easier on Brock Holt.
The 1-1. 2-1. It is hard to steal against Wade Miley, as you can see. He's already had one caught stealing behind him tonight. That came on a pickoff. The 2-1 to Gonzalez. Just got a piece, 2-2. Tomorrow at 5:30. Don't miss Friday Night Fenway, presented by Budweiser. TC will have an exclusive interview with Sox manager John Farrell. And remember to join Budweiser at Who's On First before every Red Sox home game in July for a chance to be selected as the Budweiser fan of the game. Budweiser, brewed the hard way. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Sox are back home tomorrow night. Begin a 10-game homestand. I bet, Jerry, for you, it feels like a long time since it's been a home game that day before the All-Star break.
Now, it's been a rough trip, obviously. I mean, you know, you go to the West Coast, you're not winning any ball games. You come to Houston, same thing.
Full count. Altuve takes off for third, and Hannigan got him. Taking off again on a pitch in the dirt, and Altuve is cut down.
That's a heck of a play by Hannigan right there. To block the ball, react quickly, and make that throw to third base. The ball, fortunately, does not get very far from him. Throws a strike to Sandoval. Sandoval just has to apply the tag. Very nice play by Hannigan. And a tag with a little oomph to it, rushing that hand right off the bat.
That does not go in the books as a caught stealing, just because the pitch was in the dirt. But Hannigan, regardless, made a terrific play. Cuts down the tying run. Full count, meanwhile, on Gonzalez. Here comes Miley's payoff. Fell back into the screen. Carlos Correa on deck, and that one is low. Marwin Gonzalez aboard with a 2-out walk. And it's 4 walks tonight issued by Wade Miley.
See Miley give a sign to Napoli saying, "I'm coming over"? I don't know. Let's see if he goes over there on the first pitch.
Correa has struck out and walked. You see the lead is not very big, and you're right, Jerry.
I saw him put the glove up and say, "I'm coming over," so to also alert Napoli, because sometimes first basemen get picked off too. I don't get what Gonzalez is doing. I mean, he's still putting his gloves on with a guy that's got a great move. It doesn't make sense to me.
No balls and 1 strike.
Finally, he's got his gloves on. Now pick him off.
You can see those Astros base runners, as that pitch bounced up there, they're so concerned with the pickoff move that even as the pitch has been delivered to the plate, they're moving back towards first base half the time. One and two.
Here's what I was talking about earlier. Miley looking at Napoli and telling him, coming over. He's going over on the first pitch just to alert Napoli, so Napoli didn't get picked off.
Two out in the inning. And 2-2 on Carlos Correa. It's the left-hander Tony Sipp. Lance McCullers may be finished after 5 innings for the Astros. Full count on Correa. That will put Marwin Gonzalez in motion. Napoli still holding the base runner over at first. The 3-2. Back-to-back walks. The Astros have him on first and second for Evan Gattis. Here comes Carl Willis. That's the second time in the game that after there were 2 outs and no base runners, Miley has issued consecutive bases on balls. We've talked a lot tonight about Pedro Martinez. As we prepare for his induction in the Baseball Hall of Fame, we bring you another classic Pedro moment. We go to July 23rd, 2000. This is against the White Sox. And Pedro threw a complete game shutout with 15 strikeouts. Red Sox won 1-0. One of 4 complete game shutouts thrown by Martinez in that 2000 season, a career high. Don't forget, here on NESN all weekend, coverage of the festivities from Cooperstown, and also next week, Pedro's Red Sox number retirement ceremony on Tuesday night. Carl Willis back in the dugout. Evan Gattis to the plate. With the tying and go-ahead runners aboard in the 5th inning. Gattis has singled and bounced into a fielder's choice. Two balls and no strikes.
Now, this has certainly been a struggle tonight for Miley. I mean, he's kept them to 1 run to this point, but it has not been as easy as that last outing in Anaheim.
More walks than hits allowed. 5 walks, 4 hits for the Astros. 3-0 on Gattis.
Tried the curveball there on the 2-0 count to Gattis. Missing up and out of the zone. Not giving him with the fastball, but missing badly with the breaking ball.
At the knees, the very bottom of the strike zone, 3-1.
A little gift that time.
Wade Miley's pitching line is brought to you by Ace Ticket. Trying to finish a 5th inning after back-to-back 2-out walks. 3-1. To shortstop and Bogarts. Perfect throw on the run. And so Miley is through 5. Let's take a look at the Red Sox box score. Lexus Steelers, 5 innings, just the 2 runs, but the Red Sox had 9 base runners, 6 hits and 3 walks against the 21-year-old who is finished for the night after 89 pitches. So the Astros go into the bullpen. The Red Sox lead the game by a score of 2-1. It's the left-hander Tony Sipp. Call to the bullpen is brought to you by Kia. Sipp into his 38th appearance of the season. Good numbers, 2 and 4. The Red Sox handed him a loss, in fact, back on the 5th of the month. 2.94 ERA. And De Aza swings through, strike 1. So McCullers watches his bullpen work after he labored to get through the 5 innings. 0-2 the count.
I don't know if the odds was going to try to bunt that or slap it by the third baseman Gonzalez.
0-2 in the game is De Aza. Tough lefty-lefty matchup for him.
Shift on, you can still see on the right side of the infield, even though there's a left-hander there. Here's where he's running up, and it looks like he wanted to slap that ball by the third baseman instead of bunt the ball.
Strike 3 on De Aza with a fastball from Sipp. 1 out in the 6th. Tonight's poll question is sponsored by the Scion TC. There you go. Should all getaway games be day games?
Vote yes.
Text 1 for yes. Or text Sox 2 for no. Sox 1 for yes. Sox 2 for no. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. 1 message per vote. Visit NESN.com/terms for terms and conditions and privacy policy. And we know which way Mr. Remy is.
Yes, I'm all for day game getaway days and love day baseball on getaway days.
Mike Napoli has had a big night. As far as the fans are against you, Jerry.
That's not unusual, Josh.
1-1 the count. They're starting to hear your pleas now. This is an unusual getaway situation for the Red Sox. They will fly back to Boston tomorrow instead of the norm, which would be head back east after the game tonight.
Yeah, it's that old thing, you know, about sleep, and you fly back after the game from Houston. You're talking a good 3-hour flight back with an hour's difference, so that's 4 hours. It takes you a good 2.5 to get out of the ballpark, you know, to get wings up on the flight. So you're talking about a sunrise arrival as opposed to a sunrise arrival tomorrow morning when you wake up and flying the 3 hours to Boston, go right to the ballpark and play the game tomorrow night.
The Red Sox did that coming from Anaheim to Houston earlier in this trip. Napoli has homered and doubled. Sips 2-2. Strike 3. Fastball caught him looking. This is the upcoming schedule.
Now Detroit having their problems coming into Fenway Park. They're, what, about 10 back. And they'll play ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at Fenway Park. The White Sox having a difficult time. And, of course, Tampa Bay to round out the very long homestand for the Red Sox.
10-gamer coming up. We were just talking about it. It's been almost 2 weeks since a home game at Fenway. Back tomorrow night. Hannigan 1 for 2. And Sipp has struck out the first too many he's faced. I think maybe the strangest part of the travel day of game was, at least on Tuesday this week, getting off the plane and coming right to the ballpark.
Oh, yeah, right to the ballpark. You do that a lot, don't you?
We do that a lot in the minor leagues. Into center, and Marisnik has it lined up. And Sipp has a 1-2-3-6. Remains 2-1 Red Sox. You got the former Cy Young Award winner Justin Verlander against Rick Porcello, who will be facing his former team. This closer look is brought to you by FW Web. Selection, expertise, solutions. More at fwweb.com. I'm sure Rick is excited to face his former mates with the Tigers. Now it's Wade Miley back to work in the home half of the 6th. Here's Tucker. Preston Tucker has grounded to second and flown to center. Miley has worked his way around 5 walks tonight to hold the lead. And there's a pop-up. Miley takes charge. The pitcher catches out number 1. Well, fans, you can still bid on batting practice against the Rocket Roger Clemens at Fenway for you and 9 friends. Sometime next season, all proceeds benefit the Jimmy Fund and the Roger Clemens Foundation. Place a bid by calling 877-738-1234, and the auction is closing at the end of the 7th inning. You have 1 inning left to bid. Make sure to call the number. Proceeds go to some great charities. Josh Mauer and Jerry Remy at Minute Maid Park. And here's Chris Carter. And ball and no strikes the count from Miley. And it's 2-0. Miley now up over 100 pitches and double barrel action getting loose in the Red Sox pen with Ogando and Breslow. Ripped to left. Ramirez was deep, but comes in to make the catch.
That's what you like to see from Ramirez, a little bit more aggressiveness out there in left field. But if you're going to make mistakes, make aggressive mistakes, not ones that you're just being kind of casual on and you don't want to take a chance and playing safety first. I'd say, you want to be aggressive. If you're going to make mistakes in the outfield, make them that way. That time handling was aggressive. He took a base hit away from Carter.
And Miley appreciated the effort. Hank Conger to third. Sandoval on a hard hop. Miley retires the side in order in the 6th. Red Sox lead it 2-1. Right after the game, TC and Steve Lyons will break down tonight's game, and you'll hear from Wade Miley. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but WB Mason. Miley has been able to work around some control issues, Jerry, and just 1 run in 6 innings thus far tonight.
Yeah, really has had to work hard in this ball game, but a good example of when you don't have your best stuff, you still go out and give a competitive game, and that's what Miley has done in this game so far.
Meanwhile, here's Chad Qualls, the veteran right-hander, in for Houston in the 7th. Mookie Betts looks at strike 1 from Qualls. Saw the numbers for a man who is among the all-time Astros leaders in games appeared in. Over 350 with Houston. Betts rips it down the left field line. That is foul. No balls and 2 strikes. Mookie is 1 for 2 with a walk. Doubled and scored back in the 1st. Tony Sipp, a 1-2-3 6th inning. After the starter Lance McCullers lasted the first 5 for the Stros. Correa will have to hurry. And he did just in time to get Mookie Betts. It's time for a game break brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Red Sox. And we check in with Tom Caron. Thank you, Tom. Minute Maid Park tonight. 2-1 Red Sox trying to salvage a win in this road trip. Kershaw with a brilliant effort for the Dodgers. And now here's Brock Holt against Chad Qualls. Bogarts will follow in the inning. Holt had a 2nd inning single. Red Sox have only 1 hit since that 2nd inning. Scored each of their runs early tonight, 1 in the 1st and 1 in the 2nd. One and 2 to Brock Holt. Brock, as we've mentioned earlier in the series, played his college baseball for a year here in Houston. He played at Rice. In 2009, batted .348 for Rice in 59 games. Foul pass first. It got him drafted that one campaign with Rice after he had transferred from a junior college. Drafted by the Pirates, and after being traded to the Red Sox, you know the rest. An all-star in the American League. With Ogando still throwing in the bullpen, that would lead you to believe that Miley may be finished for the night after his 6 innings of work. Strike 3 called from Qualls. 2 out in the 7th. H.P. Hood salutes the Red Sox Foundation for its commitment to 4,900 accredited charities throughout New England. Miley has gone up over 100 pitches. And now Xander Bogaerts, who's 0 for 3. Red Sox don't have any runs in the entire series off of the Astros bullpen. Only 1 hit in now just under 7 innings in the series, allowed by the Astro relievers. They've been very solid coming out of the pen.
About the best in baseball this season. Astros bullpen.
Two out in the seventh. To third base, and Marwin Gonzalez. Chad Qualls sets the side in order in the seventh. We stretch 2-1 Red Sox. Baseball on NESN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now on southwest.com. Your local Subaru dealers. And by Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Thank you, New England, for 60 great years. Tonight's game summary is brought to you by Xfinity. The Red Sox holding on to a 2-1 lead after 6 terrific innings from Wade Miley. Mike Napoli providing much of the offense with a home run and a double. Lance McCullers started and gave up the 2 Red Sox runs for the Astros. Four hits, 5 walks allowed by Miley. He's finished for the night, having allowed just 1 run. It came on a first inning homer. And here comes Alexei Ogando. He pitched a scoreless inning here last night. L.J. Hose takes strike 1. Jerry, there are the numbers on Ogando, who's called in here for the 7th.
Yeah, good numbers. Good year for Ogando. 38 appearances, this being 39. You see the 2-0 record. 221 batting average against. They got it set up the way they like it with the lead. Ogando for the 7th, probably Tozawa for the 8th, and Uehara for the 9th if the score remains the same.
L.J. Hose is 0 for 1 with a walk. He was late on the fastball, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, very late. 95 on that last fastball from Ogando. Just challenging the number 8 hitter in the lineup.
The 1-2 pitch. To second base, Brock Holt moves to his left. 1 down in the 7th inning. Stay tuned following WB Mason Extra Innings Live for Red Sox Final, presented by Uno's. TC and Steve Lyons will recap the Red Sox road trip. That's coming up on Red Sox Final. After 6 losses at the beginning of the trip, the Red Sox have a lead as they try to avoid going 0 for 7 in Anaheim and in Houston. Well, this is Colby Rasmus pinch hitting for Jake Marisnick. A.J. Hinch looking for a little thump off the bench. And looking to get a left-handed hitter up there against Ogando. There's Tazawa, as Jerry mentioned, getting loose in the bullpen. One and one on Rasmus. 233 hitter. Does have pop. 12 home runs. Started last night and went 1 for 4. And Ogando's ahead 1-2. The Astros have won 4 of their first 5 games since the All-Star break and staying right behind the red-hot Angels in the American League West. They are 2 games behind currently. 10 above the 500 mark on the year. One and 2 to the pinch hitter Rasmus. Down and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Colby looking for his first hit as a pinch hitter this season as Will Harris readies himself for the 8th inning for the Astros. Still 2-2. Ace Ticket has the best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway with a 200% guarantee. Right now, Ace Ticket has special savings on all Red Sox games, including the Yankees. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Another 2-2.
That tries to put Rasmus away with the slider, the hard slider down and in. Actually, that was not the slider, it was the fastball. They wanted to go away with the fastball. Instead, it was down and in, and runs the count full at 3-2.
Top of the order, Altuve on deck. And it's still 3 balls and 2 strikes. Get immediate care without leaving the ballpark at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center First Aid Station, located behind Section 12 on the lower concourse. BIDMC is the official hospital of the Red Sox. 1 out in the 7th inning. Another 3-2 pitch to Rasmus. Deep into right field. Colby Rasmus pinch hits and ties the game.
Well, pinch hitting at the right time, putting up some power late in the ball game. A fastball that's going to be inside. And Rasmus just cleans it out for the home run, number 13 on the season.
A.J. Hinch, the Astros manager, pushing the right button. And we're tied at 2. 2 solo home runs again tonight for the Astros. All the scoring coming via the long ball. And Altuve fouls off the first pitch.
That was the 5th career pinch hit home run for Colby Rasmus.
Altuve had a good night against Miley. The single came on a bunt. First run in this game since the 2nd inning. 0-2 on Altuve. The last 2 nights, every single Houston run has scored on a home run. That's up the middle. Altuve has his 3rd hit of the night. Mookie Betts does a good job to play it in and hold Jose Altuve with a single.
And now you've got a little bit of trouble because, we've mentioned many times Altuve can run. You get Miley out of the game, who's got the very difficult move, and much easier to get a jump against Ogando. Here's the base hit up the middle, 3 hits, a bunt single, a double, and now the single by Bogaerts. And John Farrell coming out.
So this will be it for Alexi Ogando. Faces 3 batters and only gets 1 of them out. On NESN Sports Today, Jermaine Wiggins is in studio to give you his take on Tom Brady's Deflategate appeal status. That's tonight on NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. So Tozawa takes over for Ogando. Colby Rasmus homered to tie the game, and Altuve then singled. He's at first. And now into his team-leading 41st appearance comes Junichi Tozawa. 1-3 at 2.68 earned run average. And Tozawa pitched on Tuesday's game. He gave up a run. Marwin Gonzalez is going to greet Tozawa, Jerry, and he's had a big night.
Well, he had the home run back in the first inning, and that's the only run that they had on the board till this inning. They hit another home run. Colby Rasmus pinch hitting with one.
Great speed at first for Altuve. In addition to the homer, Gonzalez is lined out hard to left and walked. Tozawa ready to work now. And a breaking ball to get ahead, 0-1.
One number that kind of tells a story on this trip. The Red Sox have been out homered 15-2 on this road trip.
It's 15 home runs allowed by the pitching staff in just the 7 games. 5 in the last 2 nights. Stopped by Hannigan, 1-1 strike.
Doubleheader we played, the day-night doubleheader in Anaheim, 3 in each game for the Angels.
And the point should be made that each of these teams the Red Sox have faced, the Angels and Astros, are one of the better home run hitting teams in the majors. Houston leading the American League in long balls. Angels with Trout and Pujols. Formidable power threat. Altuve's 1 for 2 stealing bases in the series. One and 2 on Marwin Gonzalez.
A couple of curveballs from Tazawa in the first 2 pitches he's featured so far in this game. Goes to the curveball right here. Down and away from Gonzalez. Gonzalez trying to hook that pitch.
One out in the inning, and there's the go-ahead runner on at first. Tazawa with a 1-2. That was read perfectly by Altuve. As soon as it hit the dirt, he took off again and gets into scoring position.
Well, Brock Holt for the Red Sox is very good at that, and obviously Altuve very good at that. Tries the split-fingered fastball right there that's going to bounce. There's the block by Hannigan, but by that time Altuve already at second base in scoring position. Good heads-up baseline. See the ball bounce, take off.
He ruled that a stolen base.
Not sure that was a stolen base because he was not going. He was going once the ball hit the dirt.
He took off so fast, fooled the official score. 2-2 on Gonzalez with Correa on deck. Fisted off the end of the bat. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tazawa has now appeared in 42 of the Red Sox 96 games this season. Enters tonight in a tie game in the 7th inning. Another 2-2 to Gonzalez. Into center field, Betts racing back, it's over his head into the fence. Altuve will score, and here goes Gonzalez to third. He is out. Relay executed by Bogarts, but an RBI double makes it a 3-2 Astros lead in the 7th.
Well, Gonzalez has played a major role offensively tonight for the Houston Astros. The home run, now the double, the drive in, the go-ahead run. Well over the head of Mookie Betts in center field. Nice executed relay by the Red Sox. Betts to Bogarts. And then the throw to third base to Sandoval to pick up the out. But it looks like they're going to have a review on this play at third base.
The Astros have challenged this call. Did Marwin Gonzalez get the hand into the bag before Sandoval slapped the tag? Regardless, the run will score.
Take a look from the side, see where the tag is, and the tag's up under the armpit. Was the hand on the bag? That's the question. From that angle, looks like he may have been safe.
Crew Chief Jerry Meals on the headset with the folks in New York. Question is there enough in that replay to overturn the call, which was out?
I think the best shot we had was the previous shot, which makes it look very, very close.
It's a big decision. The Astros will lead 3-2, but they'll either be 2 outs and nobody on, or a runner at third base and 1 out. This is the replay, Jerry, that you think makes it look like Gonzalez may have been in there.
It's really close. I mean, it's tough to tell whether the hand was on the bag. I mean, there's no question there was a tag, but was it there in time?
Third base umpire Paul Emmel is the one who called Gonzalez out initially. And we continue to wait. Zawa will throw some pitches in the meantime. Now a decision has been reached. They stay with the call. I think that may have been one of those where there just wasn't enough concrete video evidence.
Yeah, and in my opinion, too, it's a good challenge. I mean, because it's such a close play at third base. So you're talking about a man at third with 1 out instead of nobody on with 2 outs. You've got yourself a 3-2 lead. Looks like the split-fingered fastball that time from Tazawa and taken a long way up over the head of Mookie Betts. And Altuve has no problem scoring.
Base is empty for Correa, who rips it fair past third base. Into the corner, and Carlos Correa has himself a 2-out double.
That's why that replay call was so big right there, because you're talking about another run with that double down the line by Correa. So 2 walks and a double in the game tonight. 1 for 2, had a strikeout back in the first inning. He doesn't waste any time. He jumps on that fastball from Tazawa.
Junichi has come in to face 2 batters, and they've each doubled. Here comes Carl Willis out to visit with Tazawa. You made the point that this was lined up the way John Farrell would have hoped with a 1-run lead.
These are the go-ahead guys, you know, tie guys, the go-ahead guys. Ogando in the 7th, Tazawa in the 8th, Uehara in the 9th, but it hasn't worked out that way so far in this game tonight.
Astros lead 3-2. Evan Gattis is coming to the plate. The 2 runs in the inning thus far charged to Ogando. Gattis singled in the first. Pair of groundouts since. And another power threat up there for Houston here in the 7th. One ball and no strikes on Evan Gattis, the former Atlanta Brave. This is the first time tonight the Red Sox are playing from behind. Boy. 1-0 on Gattis. Correa stays in place at second, but it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Once again, the curveball from Tazawa and the block by Hannigan. Hannigan shaking his hand as it got a piece of it, but the runner has to hold at second base.
The 2-0 coming to Gaddis. It's back over the screen. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And Tazawa very fortunate getting away with that pitch. They wanted to go away with the fastball. Instead, it stayed inside, and Gaddis fouls it off. You see Hannigan set up outside. Instead, that pitch stays inside, and that's one that Tazawa got away with there.
Lucky night for that young man. Come away with a souvenir. Preston Tucker on deck. There have been 3 straight hits in the inning, and 4 of them total in the 7th. 2-2. Good speed at second base with Correa. Ogando retired the first batter in the inning, and Colby Rasmus's pinch hit home run tied the game. Single, double, double since. Astros have their first lead of the night, trying to add on to it in the 7th. Still 2-2 on Evan Gaddis. Gaddis with 16 home runs, 56 RBI on the year, and leads the Astros. Another 2-2. Full count.
A lot of curveballs tonight from Tazawa, more than we generally see from him. Tries the breaking ball again, but low, too low to be tempting for Gaddis.
Another full count. This time it's on Evan Gaddis. Correa at second. Up the middle and into center for a base hit. Correa will score without a throw, and the Astros increase the lead. It's 4-2 in the 7th inning.
You know, I don't remember seeing Tazawa throw this many curveballs. He finds another one to Gaddis. It stays up in the zone, and Gaddis takes it up the middle for the base hit. Usually the curveball for Tazawa is a show-me pitch, but this time he's trying to get the out with it, and instead it ends up being a base hit, and now a 2-run lead.
And the end of the night for Junichi Tazawa. Here comes John Farrell. It'll be just 3 men faced for Tazawa and 3 hits allowed. The Astros have scored 3 times in the 7th inning. game. Scoreless inning in Anaheim on Monday. Scoreless inning here on Tuesday. And a 1-2-3 inning here. Pitched the bottom of the 8th last night. So 4 nights in a row he's been called upon. This will be the 38th appearance of the season, and 3-point earned run average for Tommy Lane, who come in to face the left-handed hitting Preston Tucker. Well, you have just a little bit of time left to put in a bid on the Roger Clemens batting practice session at Fenway Park. It ends at the end of this inning. The auction for you and 9 of your friends. One night in the 2016 season. Batting practice, a VIP tour and lunch at Fenway Park. Proceeds flowing between the Jimmy Fund and the Roger Clemens Foundation. That auction ending at the end of the 7th. Call the phone number that you just saw on your screen. And a long 7th inning, and there is still a man on base as Tucker comes up with 1 on and 2 out. So the left-hander Lane, who's become a workhorse, is set to go. 1-0 on Tucker, who's grounded out, flown out, and popped out. Still more bullpen activity with Noe Ramirez. He's been up and throwing for the Red Sox. Ogando 1/3 of an inning to Zawa 1/3 of an inning. 5 hits in the 7th for the Astros. And that's ball 3 on Tucker. Chris Carter in the on deck circle. This could be the only batter that Tommy Lane faces. He gets a strike. 3-1. Red Sox will have Ortiz, Ramirez, and Sandoval due up in the 8th. Tucker hits it into the shift. It's the shortstop Bogarts making the play. And so finally the 7th inning comes to an end after 3 runs scored. Let's take a look at the updated Red Sox box score. Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And after leading much of the night, Red Sox see Houston score 3 times in the 7th. Now the Astros a 4-2 lead as we go into the 8th. Colby Rasmus, who hit the pinch hit home run, stays in the game in center. And one of the better setup men in the majors this year, Will Harris, is in to pitch. David Ortiz to lead off. There's Will Harris with a minuscule earned run average of 0.83. Just 4 earned runs in 43 1/3 innings on the year. 1-1 on Ortiz. Harris pitched in game 1 of this series on Tuesday night, a scoreless inning. And gets ahead of Ortiz, 1-2. Tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch, presented by Joseph Abood, available at Men's Warehouse. Red Sox chairman Tom Werner will join TC for an exclusive interview at Fenway Park. That's tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Way upstairs, 2-2. That ERA of 0.83 is the second lowest among all major league relief pitchers this season. Two off the foot. Ortiz began the scoring tonight all the way back in the first when he doubled off the left field fence. And it felt like, Jerry, the Red Sox offense was in gear in this game, especially the first 2 innings. They had 5 hits. They scored a pair of runs. But it's gone quiet since.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looked like, it might be one of those nights where they finally break out and score some runs, but that came to a complete stop in the 3rd inning.
Deep into right field by Ortiz. Hose at the fence. Goodbye. David Ortiz brings the Red Sox back within a run here in the 8th inning.
Well, they've been elevating the fastball all night long on Ortiz, and this time he gets a high fastball and takes it out of the ballpark. And when I mean high, I mean just above the belt. Take a look at the location of that pitch. Inside, just below the letters, and Ortiz lifts it out of the ballpark.
th of the season. His second RBI of the night. And now Ramirez. 1 ball and no strikes on Hanley. Red Sox have hit a pair of home runs this evening. Mike Napoli the other. Popped into shallow right field, and Hose can't get it. It's a fair ball. Hanley Ramirez dumps in a single to put the tying runner on base.
Just a little flare to right field that's going to find itself inside the foul line. All inside on Ramirez, inside part of the plate. That's where they like to throw him, but he's able to keep it fair. So the Red Sox trying to mount a comeback of their own.
And now Pablo Sandoval coming up. First 2 batters have hits off of Will Harris. There goes the runner. Throw by Conger, not in time. Hanley Ramirez steals second base.
That's a very slow delivery to home plate by Harris. And the Red Sox taking a gamble here, sending Ramirez, but he makes it. He gets in a scoring position down by a run. Fourth stolen base of the season for Ramirez. He's been thrown out 3 times.
Here comes A.J. Hinch. The manager of the Astros is going to talk with Jerry Meals perhaps about a challenge. Looked to me, Jerry, like Hanley was in safely there.
Yeah, the question is, did he pop off the bag? Did he come off the bag and was the tag still on him? I'm not sure. That's just a guess on my part on why they're challenging this.
Because the Astros had used the challenge on the play at third base last inning, they did not have a challenge left. So what A.J. Hinch just did was ask Jerry Meals if the umpires would initiate a review, and they obliged. Part of the rules in the new instant replay system.
Well, he's safe on the original slide. Now, does he come off the bag and be tagged? He tried to call timeout. Was he given timeout by the umpire? I mean, there he's clearly safe, right? Yeah, he's safe there. And then you see the safe call. Now he's trying to call timeout. He comes off the bag, and is he tagged off the bag? The umpire never gave him timeout. And I think that's what they're questioning right now.
And that foot only came off the bag for a split second.
But it looked like the glove was on Hanley.
So right there, Hanley is safe and ruled such.
Now here comes, he's asking for time. He does not get time. He comes off the bag for a second. Was the glove on? That's the question. Just because you ask for time, you can't take for granted that he's going to give you time. And I think that's what this challenge is all about.
You could see Jordan Baker, the second base umpire, give 2 separate safe signals. So he did see that second tag attempt, and in his view, he thought that Ramirez was not tagged with the foot off the bag. So there's the first safe signal.
I don't know, man. That's another tough call right there. But, you know, Hanley did ask for time. He did not get time. The only question here is, was the glove on Hanley when he came off the bag? And if he was, he's out.
Wouldn't that be the kicker?
Oh, that'd be just perfect.
Second long video review we've had late in this game tonight. It's 4-3 Astros, and this is the tying run that you're talking about in this game with nobody out in the 8th inning. One more time. Called safe initially. And then you see the umpire say safe for a second time. I know Major League Baseball would like for reviews not to take this amount of time.
That's a very tough one. Very, very tough. And it's such a critical part of the game right now. A critical run for the Red Sox. I mean, it's taken a little bit longer. And I got to tell you, I've watched it now. How many times have we seen it? 7 times. I have no idea.
You wonder if this is another case, as close as that is, that there's not enough conclusive evidence to overturn the call.
Now, we're going to find out here sooner or later. Sometime tonight before we get back to Boston tomorrow for another night game.
It's Jerry Meals, the crew chief, who's on the headset with the folks in New York City. Hanley Ramirez was given credit for his 4th stolen base of the season. David Ortiz had just hit a home run right before that. Decision reached. The call stands. I just don't think you had any visual proof enough to overturn. And so Ramirez remains at second base. Meanwhile, a 1-0 count on the batter Sandoval. The other thing with the length of that review, Will Harris, the pitcher, had to stand around and wait for a few minutes on the pitcher's mound. 2-0 pitch. Boy, he had a pitch to hit there.
Yeah, a very rare pitch down the middle that Sandoval gets to hit. Well, at least swing at. Most of the time, the pitches to him are out of the strike zone.
Activity beginning in the Astros bullpen. Tying run at second. Out of play, and it's 2-2. Tomorrow at 6:30, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU. TC and Steve Lyons will bring you Pedro's top 4 moments on Nesson. DCU, Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? On deck is Alejandro De Aza. Up the ladder, a high fastball strikes out Pablo Sandoval.
Now, once you get ahead of Sandoval, obviously you don't have to throw him a strike, and they don't. They climb the ladder with him, and Sandoval cannot get on top of it to make contact. Fastball by him. Huge out right there for Harris.
One down in the inning. It brings up De Aza, who's 0 for 3. Has faced Harris 3 times in his career with that 1 hit. Nothing in 1 to count. And now A.J. Hinch gets his closer. It's the man who had just a few moments ago begun to loosen. Luke Gregerson, who's been very solid at the back end of the bullpen this season. Another high fastball. It's 0-2.
Yeah, I think by design, too, trying to elevate here also against De Aza. Back-to-back fastballs up and away from De Aza. Very late swing there.
De Aza has started every game in this series. He's 2 for 9 here in Houston. Laid off that pitch, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tying run at second with 1 out. The 1-2. Just off the outside corner.
Now the crowd didn't like it, but the pitch was outside. Right back to that fastball away, and De Aza not chasing it.
Two and two. And now the count runs full on De Aza. Mike Napoli is on deck. Feels like the Red Sox have been waiting for a clutch hit in these kind of late game situations all week. De Aza, that's a foul ball just wide of first. Maybe a foot or so wide of that first base bag. They've got the first baseman Carter guarding the line. Again, foul. It's been a good at bat here. De Aza, since being acquired by the Red Sox, in 37 games now, batting over 300 for this team. And he's been a good RBI man, driven in 19 runs as a member of the Red Sox. Was behind 0-2. Has worked the count full and fouled off now 2 straight pitches. Make it 3 foul balls in a row on a 3-2 count. It looks like he's out in front. They're coming inside. He's yanking everything.
Their last 3 pitches have been inside De Aza after starting him early in the count away. Fastball's high and away.
Three defenders on the right side of the infield for Houston. Another 3-2 pitch. And a pop-up by De Aza. Carlos Correa makes the call for out number 2. Will Harris wins the battle. And here comes the manager for Houston, A.J. Hinch, out to the mound. He's going to call on his closer, Luke Gregerson. A hard-working 4-batter appearance. Best appearance.
Now Rasmus pinch hitting, takes the ball out of the ballpark on a fastball inside. And then Gonzalez after that with a double over the head of Mookie Betts. That's going to score a run. Gonzalez thrown out at third base. And then Gaddis gets the base hit up the middle against a curveball from Tazawa. And that, of course, gave their 4th run. So the Red Sox have closed the gap to 4-3. In a real grueling game for both teams tonight.
Astros are under their 5th pitcher. Red Sox have used 4. Instagram fans, we have passed 30,000 followers, well on our way to 50,000. If you're not following Nesson on Instagram, follow us now. You'll see cool behind-the-scenes photos of your favorite New England teams. Luke Gregerson, the veteran, coming in after a save in last night's game. Pitched a 1-2-3 9th inning. Was protecting a 2-run lead on Wednesday. 3-1 with a 3.06. And you can see the 20 saves. Has only blown 3 opportunities on the year for A.J. Hinch. Very good slider for Luke Gregerson. There's Hanley Ramirez, who represents the tying run. Mike Napoli, 2 for 3 tonight, including this one.
Now back in the 2nd inning, got a breaking ball on middle in and took it out of the ballpark for his 11th home run of the season. Also has a double in this game. That was a double back in the 4th inning. But his biggest at bat of the night coming right now.
Gregerson faced Napoli last night, and he got him to ground out to the mound. So now the Astros closer ready to work with 2 out in the 8th inning. Softly hit and foul. Been a pretty good trip with the bat for Napoli, who's played in 5 of the 7 games. He's now 6 for 17 with a home run. Two down in the 8th inning. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And Gregerson throws that hard sinking fastball plus that slider. Not much straight to home plate.
Has not allowed an earned run in his last 10 appearances. 2-1. There's Hannigan waiting on deck. First base is open. Red Sox hoping for a big hit from their first baseman, Mike Napoli. 2-2.
Here's that slider you're talking about. 2-1 count. Napoli probably thinking fastball does not get against the slider. And a tough one at that on the outside part of the corner, on the outside corner.
The 2-2 pitch. Into left field. It's right at Tucker, who came in. It's over his head. The game is tied, and Napoli makes it safely into second base. A misread in left. The Red Sox have rallied to tie it.
Well, that's a bad play out there by Tucker. The ball's hit very, very hard by Napoli, but Tucker never reacted to it. Fastball middle of the plate. Napoli once again hitting the ball hard, and look at Tucker. He's frozen out there, and the ball just gets up over his head. Ramirez scores the tying run.
And on the bench, probably a feeling of finally. Hannigan with the go-ahead run at second is behind 0-1. That was a double for Mike Napoli, his 3rd extra base hit of the night. He's now driven in 33. And the run charged to Will Harris. Now the Red Sox look for the lead in the 8th. Gets away from Conger all the way up to the third base dugout. Napoli to third on the wild pitch.
Tried to snap off that slider, bounces it, then Conger can't make the play cleanly. So Napoli up a bag, which certainly helps on a base hit. Not easy scoring from third than second, obviously. I feel very shallow, too, for the Houston Astros.
Hannigan 1 for 3 tonight. That came as a single in the 2nd inning. Let's see how shallow the 3 outfielders are positioned. Tie game in the 8th. To third base, and Marwin Gonzalez retires Hannigan. Red Sox strand 1 but score 2. 4-4 in Houston. Furniture goes to bat for the Jimmy Fund again this year. Bob will donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund for every game saved this season. Everybody saves at Bob's. Bob's Discount Furniture. Quality, choice, and value. Learn more at mybobs.com. As we go to the bottom of the 8th, Red Sox tie it on a home run from Ortiz and an RBI double from Napoli. They turn to their 5th pitcher of the night. Here comes the left-hander Craig Breslow. 29th game of the year. In fact, he pitched in both games of Monday's day-night doubleheader in Anaheim. Scoreless inning in each. Important inning here too, Jerry, for Craig Breslow.
Yeah, very important. The Red Sox come back to tie the ball game. You got to shut him down and get your club back up there, see if you can get another run.
4 straight scoreless appearances entering this game for Breslow. Here is Chris Carter. Carter 0 for 3, including a strikeout. League leader in strikeouts this year.
Back-to-back changeups by Breslow to start off Carter. Swing and a miss on the first one, took the second.
Out of the fastball, it's 2-1. Red Sox have been the beneficiary of coming out on the right end if you're Boston on 2 instant replay reviews. 1 in the 7th and 1 in the 8th. Tapped back to the hill, and Breslow has a play.
Fans Nesson is looking for the best backyard ballparks in New England. Upload a video of your backyard ballpark to Nesson.com/ballparks. Enter today, and if you are a winner, Don and I will visit your backyard ballpark.
Here comes Hank Conger. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. All of that came against the starter Wade Miley, who went the first 6 innings. Red Sox used 3 pitchers, each to get 1 out in the 7th. And it's 0-1. Josh Fields warming in the bullpen after Gregerson faced 2 batters in the top of the 8th. 0-2. Conger gets the fastball, but it's outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Old Jay Ho is on deck for Houston. Base is empty, 1 out. 2-2. Conger with 6 home runs on the season. And from 0-2, the count runs full. Got him. Change speeds, and Breslow strikes out Conger for the 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, Breslow completely fooled Conger there with the changeup. Not even in the mind of Conger here with the count 3-2. He goes to the breaking ball off, the changeup off the plate and gets the swing and miss. So a couple of quick outs here in the 8th inning by Breslow.
And L.J. Hose 0 for 2. He walked back in the 2nd inning. The guy who spent much of the year in AAA. To center field, and Betts. Mookie lines it up. Will head to the ninth. Tie game in Houston. Selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag NESSANDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile.
And you might see yourself with Mike Lowell.
I'm going to say that looks like Mr. Lowell. Strong photo. Josh Fields is the 6th Houston pitcher of the night. He takes over for Gregerson as we go into the ninth. A former Red Sox farmhand has been very solid near the back end of A.J. Hinch's bullpen this year. Top of the order due up, and Betts ahead in the count, a 1-0. 2.90 earned run average in 31 appearances for Fields. In fact, he pitched a 1-2-3 ninth inning here on Tuesday. A little bit high, 2-0. Betts, Holt, and Bogarts due up for Boston. Took a rip at the 2-0 pitch. It's 2-1. Two-1 to Betts. Out of play, it's 2-2. Red Sox have not had occasion to use their closer Koji Uehara since Friday night. And he gave up the walk-off home run to Mike Trout in Anaheim. He's getting ready in the bullpen. Red Sox would love to bring him in, protecting a lead. 3-2 to Mookie Betts. Betts was 1 out of 20 in the first 5 games of the trip. Tonight he's doubled and walked, though. Up the middle and into center field, a base hit. Rasmus plays it in, and Mookie Betts leads off the Red Sox ninth with a single.
Now we'll see how the Red Sox play this now. The man at first base, nobody out. There's the low fastball to Betts. He puts on a line in the center field for the base hit. Brock Holt at the plate. Shift on. Will they be sacrificing, stealing, hitting, running, doing something? 2 sacrifices on the season for Brock Holt.
How would you play this year?
I'd bunt him to second.
Fields throws over to first, hoping that Holt might indicate one way or another. Brock is 1 for 4. Gonzalez there is the only man on the left side of the infield. No bunts. And now Fields gets the lead runner. Holt safe at first. John Farrell had Brock Holt swinging away.
Yeah, tries to check his swing, as you can see right there, but a nice adjustment by Fields, the pitcher, and he gets that big out at second base. I'm a little surprised at the strategy on that flash play.
One on and 1 out for Xander Bogaerts. Hitless nights have been rare of late for Xander Bogaerts, but he's got an 0 for 4 thus far this evening. One ball and no strikes. And now with 1 out, you could still try to put the runner in motion. Maybe steal, hit, and run to try to get something.
That's certainly an option.
Holt 5 out of 6 in stolen base attempts on the year. Tie game in the 9th. Houston scored 3 times in the home half of the 7th to take a 4-2 lead. Red Sox fighting back last inning. They scored twice in the 8th. A David Ortiz solo home run and a clutch 2-out double from Mike Napoli. Brian Butterfield flashes the signs. Fields came over to the Astros in the Rule 5 draft. December 2012, they picked him away. Red Sox had Josh Fields in Portland and Pawtucket, double and triple A before that. One pitch, runner going. Did try the hit and run, but Bogaerts fouls it, and it's 1-2.
The Red Sox trying something there, a hit and run play. Bogaerts swinging at a pitch that he hits pretty deep, but in foul territory down that right field line. Bogaerts watching it, hoping it stays fair, but it does not. Start all over again with Holt at first base.
It's a good idea with the runner in motion to take a shot to the right side there if you're Bogaerts.
Yeah, Bogaerts has been very good at doing that.
1-2. Faced a high fastball, and there were 2 out in the inning.
Now fastball not even close to being a strike, way up out of the strike zone this time to Xander. Well over his head.
And now David Ortiz. He's faced Fields twice, and it's 1-0. Ortiz has an RBI double, and then this back in the 8th.
Gets the fastball up and in, and is able to pull that ball and keep it fair. With the Red Sox on the board in the 8th inning, where they put 2 runs on the board.
Out of play, 1-1. With his home run in the 8th, Ortiz, now combined between the regular and postseason games he's played, has exactly 500 career home runs. 483 regular season, 17 in the postseason. Two and one from Fields. If you're Fields, how carefully do you pitch David Ortiz with a right-hander, Hanley Ramirez on deck?
You just want to keep him in the ballpark. I mean, you know, he throws a lot of high fastballs, and Ortiz has a tendency to chase those and sometimes not make contact on them.
Broken bat to second base. That's the shortstop playing on that side of the infield. Correa to end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Charlie travels to Poland, Maine to meet up with comedian actor Bob Marley. Plus, find out the origin of Maine's state slogan. Catch it all on Charlie Moore, Sunday night at 8. Craig Breslow is back out for his second inning of work. They'll try to send the game into extra innings, and Colby Rasmus first up. Rasmus pinch hit and homered back in the 7th inning. Altuve and Marwin Gonzalez to follow for the Astros. Into left field, playable for Hanley Ramirez. Cap off, 1 out. Breslow has retired all 4 men he's faced. And now the hitters who at the top of the order have been so pesky against the Red Sox all series, and especially tonight. Altuve and then Gonzalez, who have each been on base 3 times in the game. 2-1 the count on Jose Altuve.
Altuve right there was looking for a game-winning home run. He went down to one knee after that swing. He's got 8 on the season. He was looking for 9 right there to end this game.
Good time. Breslow stays away. It's 1-1. Two balls and 1 strike. Astros look to win on a walk-off. The Red Sox need a victory to avoid an 0-7 road trip and a season-high 8th loss overall in a row. 3-1 on Altuve. Dangerous pitch, 3-1. Drilled into left field. Ramirez watches it go for a walk-off home run. Jose Altuve and the Astros have swept the Red Sox. Jerry, the trip begins with a walk-off loss. It ends just as it started. Meanwhile, you can see John Farrell conferring with the umpires. Does look like we are going to have an official review.
I'm wondering if what he's going to challenge is if a fan reached over the fence and interfered with that baseball. We're going to have to wait and see. It looks like a walk-off home run, but I think that's what Farrell's going to challenge.
Certainly, what does he have to lose? Let's take a look at our Toyota play of the game, and this is what the umpires are going to take a look at off the bat of Jose Altuve.
We'll take one more look at it. The line shot by Altuve looks like it has enough legs. And I think that's what they're questioning, but to me it looks like it's out of the ballpark.
In order for that to be fan interference, someone would have had to reach over the yellow line.
Exactly.
They've just shown a replay on the big video board at Minute Maid Park that appeared pretty conclusive that it was not interfered with, so much so that the Red Sox players have just walked off of the field before Jerry Meals has rendered the final verdict. For Altuve, it would be his 9th home run of the year.
Well, we talked about it earlier in the bat. There's no question what he was trying to do there. I mean, the first at bat, he went down to a knee, and this time he hits the home run to left field, or it looks like a home run to left field. And they scored a home run.
The call stands, and the Red Sox fall 5-4. So the road trip ends without a victory. Jerry, can't thank you enough for all the help this week.
It's been a pleasure, Josh, and congratulations and good luck to you.
Thanks to everybody at Nesson, great crew, and especially Mr. Remy. Well, the Astros win it in the 9th inning. Lots of post-game coverage still to come.